Welcome to DCPC Live Presents Scene Support, the podcast that spotlights the people behind the scenes who keep DIY and underground music alive. From the bookers and the sound techs to the zine writers and venue operators, we're here to give credit where it's long overdue. I'm your host, Scott Pasch, founder of DCPC Live, a DIY label putting out short-run vinyl of live punk, hardcore, ska, and metal shows. After decades in bands behind the scenes, I know the work it takes to keep a scene going, and today's guest is one of those people doing that work day in and day out. Today, I'm talking with Lisa Root, founder and editor-in-chief of New Noise magazine, one of the most respected and enduring publications covering punk, hardcore, metal, and alternative music today. Since launching the magazine in 2013, Lisa has built New Noise into a cornerstone of the independent music journalism, balancing print and digital media at a time when most publications have gone fully online. Before starting New Noise, Lisa spent over a decade writing, editing, and promoting in punk and hardcore world, including her work with Hails and Horns, Loud Fast Rules, and Amp magazines. Through New Noise, she's continued to champion emerging artists alongside established acts, keeping the DIY spirit of print media alive with every issue. I first reached out to Lisa not as just a fan of the magazine, but as someone who deeply respects her commitment to community-driven media. What she's built with New Noise embodies the same ethos that fuels scene support, lifting up people, stories, and bands that make our scene thrive. Let's dive into how Lisa's kept punk journalism alive in a digital age, what it takes to run an independent magazine today, and why she believes print still matters. There we go. Now I got it. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So that's a lot going on. And, you know, as I dug into you to like before this, I mean, I knew you were doing New Noise, obviously. And I like, when I read like Amp and Faster, I was like, I remember those because I'm almost 50 years old. And, you know, most of my life, I grew up like reading Maximum Rock and Roll in the early 90s throughout high school. And then like MRR kind of got harder and harder to find. And then, you know, I lived in the DC area and I'd go to places like Smash and, you know, Commander Salamander. And then eventually in the world, Hot Topic showed up. But I'm not, whatever Hot Topic, it's fine, whatever. But I went in there and they had like Amp magazine. I was like, oh, hey, you know what? It's a magazine about punk bands. I don't care what store it's in. I'm going to buy it. Oh, it comes with CDs. Oh, Faster, Louder is like the same thing, but usually a little heavier bands. And I was like, it was like, they were inexpensive, they were detailed, and the free CD, what the fuck? That was great. So I'm just happy to be talking to you because I want to hear all about all this. So can we just start in the beginning? Let's get to the root of Lisa Root. Like, where did this all come from? How did you start doing all of this?
Whew,
Yeah, I know it's a loaded question.
Finally, I know I got to get like way back. This was originally I had moved west to go to college, but that didn't happen. And when I I moved west to go to college, but I was missing a quarter credit because I was in an accident in high school. So there was a snafu in getting all my federal aid when I got out to go to college, and I couldn't go, and I couldn't stay in my dorm. So we were on a payphone trying to find jobs and places to live, and I met the person who became who I started doing the first magazines with, and then I just got derailed from what I was planning on doing and fell into the magazine publishing world. And so we started AMP originally in 2002 or 2003. I can't remember which now. And that was a completely different era of labels and magazines. It was completely different. I just saw, it was really interesting on someone in one of the Facebook groups posted a one sheet for a band. I think it was an Epitaph band. And one of the little sales points was that they were advertising in hundreds of music magazines. And
hundreds?
Hundreds. I was like, they maybe were exaggerating. Yeah, and they were like, you know, independent zines and all this stuff. And now I'm like, how many of us are there left? And
I find that bad because there's you and there's Razor Cake that I can think of that are like easily recognizable, consistently published. You know, I go to record stores and I see some DIY zines that are out there, but their publishing schedule was all over. It's not Punk Planet anymore. It's not Maximum Rock and Roll. It's like, you are the mainstays that I can think of that actually publish literal printed material. And that's literally all I can think of. Like Slug and Lettuce doesn't print the newspaper they used to do. You know, we have Outsider Magazine here. That's like a newspaper that's been going 20 years here in the Hudson Valley, but Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's just
Even
not a
those, like,
lot.
the local, weeklies are
Yeah.
so hard to find now too, and those I used to love picking up, any town that I lived in, was always nice to see those, and those don't seem to really exist anymore either.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when the Onion was still like actually was in print. Like
Yeah.
I would be walking around the streets of DC and pick the Onion up out of a free bin, and I could sit there on the metro and read the Onion on my way to work or to a show or something like that. I'm like, now it's online. Like the idea of having a physical copy of something is just non-existent in the print world. Like I even, my dissertation is on graphic novels, but I still read comic books. But I hate to say it, I use Marvel Unlimited because I don't have the money to spend, and it's just so convenient to walk around my iPad going, "Oh, what am I reading now? What am I reading now?" So, but I love your magazine being in print. So,
Yeah, me too. It's a lot of work, but yeah. I mean, yeah, like, failure isn't an option because I've had to really be cautious through everything and not take as many risks, or because I really am fiercely, I cling to not just the idea of print. I don't like being on social media. I think that there's an importance to print. Like, I still love flipping through um AMP, and like, it's like a graveyard of labels that don't exist anymore, or bands that don't exist, or some bands that do, and then some labels that
sure.
are still thriving. And like, it is a documentation of something that maybe could not exist at all or be wiped off. And originally I'd wanted to be a historian and archivist and do that kind of work, because I really think it's important, for these, subcultural things, to be able to have some kind of record of them and keep it. And so that was, for me with the magazines, it was like this complete snapshot of what
Mhm.
labels are around, who's putting out what genres and scenes are big, what's happening each issue. That it used to
I
be
used to
monthly.
love the scene reports that would be in scenes. Like, I was like, "What's happening in your scene?" I was like, "Oh, this is so exciting!" Because, you know, until I could get
Yeah.
on the road, I couldn't make it to see what was going in Denton, Texas, and I really wanted to know what was going on in the Denton, Texas scene and what the shows were happening.
Yeah.
But I'm a social studies teacher, so you got me right there. And being from DC, the whole idea that Discord have of documenting DC is part of my label. It's like we do live shows because like that show mattered to somebody. Even if it was only 15 people were there, for those 15 people, they had that experience that I've had at 15-person shows where like all your worries disappeared, and for like 30, 40 minutes while you're watching this band, everything just melts away, and capturing that moment has value.
Yeah.
And what you're doing, capturing that moment in print in a physical way, because I don't know on the internet, I mean, it could disappear at any given moment. I mean, the
It
stuff,
does.
websites go away, they get shut down, it's just gone.
Yeah, when AMP went under, they pulled the website,
Yeah.
and so all of that is gone except for what's in print. And
There was no way to archive or to sell it off to anyone or do anything with that. Like
it
there was,
wasn't it wasn't it
you're
wasn't
like, I'm not in charge of
I
that at
let
all.
Twitter happen. So
So did you want to talk about AMP at all, or would you rather focus on where you're at today and leave the past in the past,
focus on
even
where
though
we're
we're
at
both
today.
historians?
I have talked about where that was, and it's
Yeah.
such a long time now. Like, a lot has happened. I mean,
Sure.
it was, an acrimonious. When I started New Noise Magazine, I started it with what I had wanted to do, what I
Sure.
realized should be done, and how to do it. And, um, basically I felt that, being more genre specific, like being a punk magazine or being a metal magazine, didn't make sense. That my
Hmm.
magazine should be punk, it should be metal, it should be indie, it should be hardcore, because people have those wide ranging interests, and it should all be housed under underground music. Like,
Lisa,
people that are
you
into
and I
metal.
are
Yeah.
we are kindred spirits. So same thing.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
are.
I saw like that's why I was like punk, hardcore, ska, and metal. Even like the shows I do, I too was like it's gonna be a mixed bill. You're gonna have a ska band on there with a youth
Yeah, and
crew
that's the
band, and
best
then there'll be
shows
a
in McGill
shoegaze
shows.
band, and then a deathcore band. It's all gonna happen on the same bill because I don't want to hear 5 Ramones bands in a row. I don't want to hear 3
Yeah.
grindcore bands in a row. I want to hear something different. So, you and me, we are maybe it's our age.
Yeah, it is. I think, yeah, we are a very special generation, I think.
We are a special generation, but like
Well, okay.
everything you're dropping, I'm picking up.
Yeah, I mean, like, the early 90s, there was so much neat shit going
Mm,
on, even beyond punk, we had, like, the golden
so
age of hip
much.
hop and
Yeah.
and, like, Ween, like, weird
Yes.
shit, it was all in our what we liked, like, I look back, I don't think, like, the kids I was running with in high school were not necessarily, like, intellectual and stuff like that, but we had wide-ranging, very interesting
Yes.
intellectual interests in history and movies and art, in music, and, I think and it's weird because we weren't able to have all the information at our fingertips. We had to deal with boredom and how to conquer that, and
Yep.
we had to seek out the things we wanted. With music, we had to, look at liner notes and be like, "Who
Yes.
else?" Like, "What other bands would I like from this?" And just, you know, try it,
But but maybe that's why interests were brought in, right? Like nowadays, kids have the internet, and I mean no disrespect to people out there that have it. Like you can deep dive into something you want. Whereas I'm like, oh, I'm really interested in this, but this is all I can find right now. Oh, I met my new friend Lisa. Oh, they're into X, which I don't know anything about, so I'm just going to learn from them. And so like your experiences were fueled more by the people you engaged with and their willingness to share their odd interests. And it's like, oh, we're the community welcome the oddity. We celebrated, I felt like, instead of going,
yeah,
oh, you're into something odd and silly that I don't know anything about. I don't care about that. I was like, oh wow, you're into LARP. I was like, I don't know what that is. Explain LARP to me. And like,
yeah. Love looks fun.
it looks fun. I've never done it, but I had a
Yeah,
friend that did all that stuff like in the 90s and helmets and the battle axes and all that. I was like, I thought it was crazy fun that he would share
yeah,
these stories. I never got to engage with it, but I'm like, I think today people are like, oh, you should all, it's,
yeah.
I don't
There
know.
is an
It's too
homogenized
easy.
well, I mean, everything in our like, things aren't bold and colorful anymore, cars
Mm,
all look the same, like,
what is
we are
that?
a much more homogenized society, I think, now than
Yes.
we were back then. There isn't that same kind of it's yeah. I mean, it's the world
I
we
mean,
got right now, and we're doing the best with it, but yeah, so
it,
that's why I am like in what I wanna do with the magazine, I'm really glad I have such a great crew of people around me
yeah.
because all I wanna do is the print aspect of it, and I want everything else to just work, and I don't want to think
So,
about it.
so the digital is like you're doing it because you feel like you have to, but if you didn't have to do the digital, you would just leave it.
Uh, if I could, like, pick up a phone and not send emails, I would do that. If I
Yep.
could do everything the way I did it in
Yep.
2003, I would totally do it
Oh,
that way, but you can't, and I get that. And
yep.
there are I mean, there's all kinds of pluses um, to social media and stuff. I think it kind of just has gotten out of control where it's not a community, you have, just it's just much more randomized and kind of advertising at you in a weird way than it was when it started. Like nothing can maintain its coolness for a
Sure.
long period of time.
You
And,
no longer have like when I was coming up doing it like really in the early 2000s in like DC, there was a fear board, PHEER, and you'd be on there and learn about shows and you'd all talk.
yeah,
And it was actually like, despite the trash talking occurred, there was community
yeah,
being built. Whereas like, oh, I'm going to post something on Instagram. It's like, oh, look at that. 15 people liked it, but I don't know who they are. And they're not communicating with me. They're not commenting. I'm not commenting back. There is no actual dialogue occurring between
yeah,
it. And like, they're not even choosing to see my stuff. It pops up in their feed, whether they want it to or not per se, versus
yeah,
like, so I hear what you're saying, right? It's kind of like a disengagement of agency where,
yeah,
you actually chose, I want to be in this bad religion chat group and talk about bad religion with people versus me going, oh, look at that. I just got a thing that nope, I don't want to see it. Scroll past, scroll past.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, like you said, commercials, like skipping commercials. Go on, go on.
Yeah, like, yeah, the whole scrolling thing, is just it's not good, and I mean, like, and luckily right now I'm in school full time too, so I have to read so many books, and so I don't have time to even look at social media for the most part. Every once in a while, I will just as like a palate cleanser between like switching gears from magazine to
See?
work mode, and so.
I feel that
But
because I unfortunately have to use social media a lot because I'm an online record label. So it's like
yeah.
that's one way. I mean, I have my advertisement, even my advertisement with you. I was like, I meant to ask you, I was like, I know I advertise on your website. Is there a way I can advertise on your print magazine instead? I'd rather do that.
I know.
You know?
I love anybody that says those words. I really think, I mean, obviously it keeps us afloat and
Yes.
it allows me to, because every penny that comes in goes into the magazine.
Mm.
Um, I'm not independently wealthy, but I'm independently self-sufficient. And I
Sure.
would rather I'll go into this. Um, and because there's still things that I'm like, oh, we need to improve this. We need to get a person that can do this job task, and trying to do all those different things that are on the wish list. And but I think that a print advertisement in the magazine makes it even more of a resource because if you're reading an article on this band and you
Hmm.
see that they're on that label and then you see the other, it's the liner note theory, where
Yes,
you're like,
exactly.
oh, but here's the other things that they're doing and maybe I should check those out.
Yeah.
So I do think there's value in it, but like what I ran up against it's getting a little bit better now. But when it got really hard when labels were just pulling print ad support away
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
putting it into, I guess, social media advertising and different things, was explaining like, yeah, it's not a value you can track like you
Yep.
can online impressions and things like that, but it has value. What we do has value
Yep.
because we're really like, rather than trying to just be like the coolest magazine out there, with like huge spreads and stuff, I am focused on putting as many deserving artists in every issue as possible. So it's a really dense magazine. We have like over 60 bands in every issue, which is so much,
It's a
so much
lot.
to assemble, so much to edit. Yeah, so much to like, yeah.
And how do you select your bands? Is it you reaching out or to people, to bands, record labels, managers, etc., reach out to you? Like, what's the process, if you don't mind sharing, of how someone gets the band talked about, and what is your criteria of whether you think a band is someone you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, a lot of it comes from, the press releases that we get, and bands that email us, directly. I sort through all the emails and I put together a content spreadsheet, based like sorted by release date where
Yeah.
we just put together all the releases we know about. I kind of, and that is where any of the reviewers can go and review.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I kind of curate that a bit, but I still make a big pitch list and I send that to writers, and allow them to choose the
Okay.
most expensive up from that list. And then I also take pitches from our contributors, or,
Okay.
our writers, um, because they're, they're into all of this and they're doing it
Yes.
for love of music because this isn't like a lucrative thing for any of us, especially on the scale that we're working. Um, in trying to cover as much as we do. I don't think I think a lot of times people don't realize how small we are, but based on how much we are covering every
You
issue.
cover a lot, and
Yeah.
your magazine is very sharp, right? Like, it's, I'm trying to, the big three that I think I had, like Razor Cake, Punk Planet, and Max from Rock and Roll. Max from Rock and Roll, obviously, just very black and white newspaper print. Razor Cake's got the color covers where everything's black and white inside. Punk Planet used to be is a pretty nice aesthetic around it, but you've
Mhm.
definitely got more of the glossy feel to it than the others.
Yeah. Thank
And that
you.
probably makes people think that you're bigger than you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. The gloss and but on the other hand, like especially like during pandemic, um all the stores, all of our outlets closed. So we didn't
Yeah.
have distribution for a while, because no one could go shopping.
Yes.
Um But during that period of time, I really worked on the distribution, and when things started opening back up, we really worked on that, and and people were more receptive, I think, because people were coming out and buying tangible goods again.
Sure.
things that they were excited about, like, when things open, they were like, "Oh my god, I can go to Barnes& and Noble," you know?
Yes.
So, they were going again, so there was,
Um,
like, this, like, renaissance in appreciating things like, print media, and so, like, Barnes& and Noble came in and upped their orders beyond what they were doing before the pandemic, and then I got a distribution person that, got us into a whole bunch of, new outlets nationwide, Canada, Europe, and then a whole bunch of other countries worldwide.
Excellent.
And
Awesome.
so, yes, we're actually have really great distribution too. And it's something I like, I'm not really good at like blasting out like what we're
Yeah.
all doing. And I've never been a sales kind of
Yeah.
person. I've remained kind of the same person I was when I was learning how to do this just from scratch, where I'd be like, "Do you wanna know this cool magazine?" You know? And people are either receptive to that or not.
Sure. Sure.
So I don't have, like, the business speak to do that kind of stuff, but we are doing really well with distribution and direct sales, and, with it also is lends to what we do and being
Yeah.
a valuable thing to invest in, so
And so you get most of your press releases, I assume, like digitally via email. Does anyone still ever send you physical albums to review? Because I know, like Maxim Rock and Roll, I had to send them two vinyl to review, one for the reviewer and one for the archives. And then I send also Razor Cake. And I'm like, well, in one level, like if I was a reviewer for Razor Cake, it's like, well, that's kind of payment. I just got a $25 record for free and I review it. And if I like it, yay. And if I don't, I'll trade it, sell it, or whatever. And like, that's worth it to do a review for me. Do you get physical copies still from people?
I do try to, like, tell, whenever we get, like, the physical stuff, like, "Let me run this by, like, a specific reviewer." Maybe, like,
Yeah.
befriend one of our writers who would be
Yes.
into your stuff and send to them directly because I don't have time to, like, remail something somewhere, and I'm
You don't have
doing
time to resupply it back out again.
well, yeah, yeah, so digital we just say digital is the best, and
Yes.
then if our reviewers would like a physical copy, they can ask for that.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
so
can't more vinyl, I'm tapped out. Like,
yeah.
I got a studio apartment, that I'm paying too renting for too much for. I don't have and it's filled with books. I mean, like,
Yep.
there's
No, I
my
get you.
there's part of my thesis books. So,
There we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, wait. There's all my books there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all yeah. Yeah, you understand. Trust me.
Yeah.
I have wall-to-wall bookshelves downstairs. My house is basically comic books that I bought for 15 or 20 years before I went digital, books and records. It's like physical media. The only thing I don't
Yes.
do physically anymore are movies. I don't buy DVDs. I have friends that still buy DVDs. I'm like, good for you.
I, got rid of my movie DVD
Yeah.
collection when I moved from, I was renting a house and then moved to this apartment, and I got rid of, like, my movie DVDs, and I'm still in mourning over what
Yeah.
I did because there's so many of them. There was a movie that was, like, you couldn't get anywhere that I
Yeah.
had on DVD called The Fall, and obsessed with this movie, but then they just put it on Mubi because they were trying to like, everyone
Yeah.
was, like, trying to petition Criterion to do a special edition
Mm.
of it, but, yeah, I would do that. I would
Yep.
do DVDs again, but
I was that
yeah.
guy that would copy movies onto VHS and TV shows that I loved, like The
Yeah.
Simpsons, religiously because I was afraid that one day they would go off the air and I'd never see them again because I never envisioned the day of streaming. But I still feel like streaming could disappear. Like, even
It
though I
can.
don't buy CDs anymore, I have not gotten rid of the 1,000 CDs that I have. They're all still stored away someplace relatively safe. Should digital streaming disappear, I have my CD collection still, particularly because so many of the CDs are from small local bands that never are going to show up on streaming services.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the important like, especially with what we're doing, the level that we're doing,
Yeah.
is that there is a real risk of things disappearing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's something where I love having a print magazine,
So
and
what's the process? You do how many issues do you do? Like 8 issues a year, I think.
6 issues a year now.
6 issues. Okay. So like every
Gosh.
other month.
Mhm.
So I mean, It sounds my guess is like, just under like you probably like get the issue out, like breathe for like half a day and then jump right into the next issue, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I put the issue out. I kind of have like part of that week, whatever is left over of that week, I'm just like, I just check my emails for what I need to answer.
Yep.
And then I spend that weekend clearing out my inbox because I get like 400 or 500 emails a day.
Yeah.
So it, if you turn your back on it for a minute, then you're just screwed. And so then I'll like clear everything out if I get like a certain day where I can just hang out and do that.
Mm.
And then I build up the new pitch list. I file all of the releases I'm hearing
Yeah.
about while I'm working on the other issue, update the spreadsheet, and then once I pitch the writers and have them all working, that's when I take a week off from,
Okay.
but I'm not off. I'm just a week from really
Yes.
feeling
It
that
sounds like you
power.
need an assistant. You should get
No,
yourself a nice paid intern.
no, no, this is enough. I honestly like last fall, whenever I started back to school, it really like ate up a lot of my time, and I was
Yes.
having a really hard time doing the rounds of trying to sell it because it's not fun. It's not fun
Yes.
work. You're like, "Dude, do you wanna buy it out in the magazine?" And then, like, someone doesn't answer you, and then you have to be like, "Just following up again. Did you wanna get it out in
Yep.
this issue?" Like,
I can imagine. And
like, you have to really be in the mood for it, and
yeah.
if it coincides to, like, when I have, like, PMS or something, I'm just like, "I don't wanna do this."
Oop.
So I find every other thing to do, and then I got into the English program here at Berkeley, and I just had this distraction where I'm like,
Yep.
"I don't have to sell ads today because I have to read this
Yes.
or I have to write this paper." And
Yep.
so I was that fall, whenever I started, was our lowest booking issue
Oh,
ever because I just didn't have it in me. And
sure.
then so then after when spring was kicking up, I was just like, "Ugh, can
Like,
I
I got to
still
do
do
this.
this? Can I do this? Because I really can't blow it." I got this opportunity to go to the top English program in the country,
Sure. Of course. Of course.
and that's gonna be my priority. And I was kinda just feeling a little bit like downtrodden kind of. And then I got an email from our new ad person, Chris, who was working for Revolver and AP and all of them. And he's
Okay.
like, "Do you need an ad person?" And I was like, "Do I ever?" you know? So uh I was like, it was a great moment in
Yeah.
my career here because I have been looking for the ad person that can do what I've done ever since I started this goddamn thing.
Yep.
And so Chris came in and has been working on that. He has, he knows the people I know more me plus that.
Yep.
And then, on the website I have like my whole team over there. Addison handles like oversees it. And um so like the web and digital side, they're doing a great job with.
Yep.
And so now that I have like Chris out there building like great, like keeping, continuing our relationships and
Yeah.
expanding us. We have a podcast we're doing now, a live
Oh,
series.
rad.
Yeah, we have some other things that are like in the plan that we're working on to really like, and we're doing like the rough trade events where every cover that we like one of the covers that we do every issue, we have the band come in and play at Rough Trade at 30 Rock. And so he's really like opened up a lot of things, but then also freed me up to be able to focus on making a print magazine, which is what I wanted to do this whole time, and balance it with school until I graduate in spring. So yeah, things have really come together this year.
That's a lot of great stuff. So the podcast, let's just start with the three things. You threw three things at me that I
Yeah.
didn't know much about. So podcast. Are you the host of the podcast?
No,
No.
no, no.
No,
No,
you're no.
I wanna be as in the background as possible with all of
Okay.
this,
So
I
who's hosting it? What's the topical content?
Christina
I'm assuming
Rowett.
it's music, obviously. So
Yeah, Christina, Rowett, it's We Wreck Records. She's in Australia, she's delightful. She is an encyclopedia of music knowledge, and so she's talking with artists about, like, their biggest records, a and, Chris, doing our marketing as well, has begun to as well.
okay.
Um,
And can
So then
people
you're
pitch their bands to be on that podcast? Or is that one of those ones where you're going to
a
reach
little
out
bit of both.
instead?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're lining things up on a rolling basis,
Okay.
and I think they've done 13, I think so far. It could be 14 now. This week could be
Okay.
14.
I'm going to check
Um,
that out. Is it called New Noise, or what's the name of the
no, it's called
podcast?
We Rec Records.
Okay. So it's We Rec Records. I knew that's what you said, that Christine was her name.
Christina, yeah.
Christina. So they work for We Rec Records, and that's the podcast, but it's undergirded by New Noise then? Is New
Yeah, yeah,
Noise
yeah.
is yeah.
We're hosting it and streaming it and everything. So yeah,
Okay.
she's doing it in conjunction with us.
That's
But
rad.
the mastermind, that is her baby.
All right.
Um,
I'm gonna check that. Everyone else, you should check that out too.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's his live series? Because I do live albums, so you just got me excited. You
Oh
said
yeah,
live, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I'm like,
We have Adam, who is in Long Island, and he films shows there.
yeah.
With multi-camera, all that kind of good stuff,
Okay.
and then edits them, makes them look great, sound great, and then we put them on the site. We have a dedicated
Awesome.
YouTube channel for it.
And what shows does he? How does he like? What shows has he done? Or like, I know on
Uh,
the 18th, if I was him in 3 days, I would be at the sold out Amityville show for Two Man Advantage's final
and
game,
he's
which I just put
probably
out
going to be
there.
there.
And I just put out. Hold on, wait. I just put up my first studio album, putting out their final 7-inch.
Nice.
So that's all on me. So and I can't be there. I am a huge Two Man Advantage fan. That's why I put out a studio album and broke my whole ethos. But I had already booked a 3-day thing I called the Hudson Valley Tri-Corner for this band Burning Hat from Philly. And I
Uh-huh.
had this ethical problem where if I book a show and I'm running the show, I have to be there to run
You
the
have to be
show.
there. I
And
agree.
if a band like Two Man Advantage calls out to me and says, Scott, we're doing this, I'm like, yeah, I've had this booked for over a month and I can't bail on this band. And as such, I will put out your record, but I will sadly not be at your final game. And it kills me. Like, I'm getting text messages all this week. Like, you going? You going? I was like, no, I'm not going. So, but he's
I hate
taking
all
video,
the
huh?
times I've had to miss. Yeah, because I've had to miss a lot since they started back to school. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm sure he'll be there. You can look at all the ones he's done. Dead Guy, Drain. My brain just freezes up whenever you're like, "What are?"
Yeah,
But I
that's
mean, those are the
amazing.
two most recent ones that we've done.
Oh, that is awesome. I'll definitely. So, and is that video channel available on your New Noise website?
We post them on there, and then it's on the New Noise YouTube.
Okay.
And then we're doing another live recording one at this really beautiful home studio in Connecticut, um, where a band will come in and record like 3 songs, and I I don't explain these as well as they would, and then they're edited and put together into a live performance in a
Should
studio.
you ever want to do a New Noise live album comp or New Noise anything on a vinyl, I know a record label that does live albums
Yes,
that would
yeah,
be highly interested in a collaboration with you. And
that
that's
sounds
all
like
I'm going to say right now, because I don't want to push it on this podcast, but in a private conversation, I would love to
yeah,
chat with you more about this.
that sounds great. I would
I
love
would
that.
love that a lot too.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So those are three of the things that we're doing right now, and we have more fun digital content creation stuff in the plans that we'll be discussing more. But
That's awesome.
yeah,
My distributor, Hostile Distro in Philadelphia, because I just do my vinyl through there. He actually mentioned if I do digital distribution, he said there's a lot of money to be made in digital distribution. I don't really understand how there's money to be made in that personally, because I feel like you put it on YouTube and everyone watches it and that's what it
yeah.
is. But he claimed that there was, so I haven't had a chance to really dig into what that means. But the idea of
I
doing
know.
that,
Let me know.
yeah. Maybe the three of
I'd
us will
love to
get into
find out
a
what
call
a lot
together.
of money for anything.
I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, he's like, it's probably more profitable than the vinyl. I was like, really? I was like, I mean, the vinyl's not very profitable, let's be honest. It's about as profitable as a print magazine.
Yeah,
Let's be
yeah,
honest, right?
yeah.
It's self-sustaining.
We're
It's
not in the
self-sustaining. No,
Yeah,
profit.
yeah,
Profit.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a record mogul.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm like, I'm
sorry.
running a .org without the .org because like,
Yes.
this is like
I was like, I make less money than I made when I was a teacher.
yeah.
No, no. I lose money. What did I tell my wife last year that I lost like $4,000? She's like, well, if you golfed, you probably would have spent $4,000 golfing.
Yeah, there's a
So I was
lot
like,
of ways to lose
if
$4,000.
you just look at it, it's like even when I do
Yeah.
shows, and I'll do shows and I feed the bands and I do all these huge posters and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I lost $150, maybe even $200 on that show. But if I'd driven to Baltimore to go see the band, spent the night, driven back, I'd have been out $200 to see the band. This way, I just brought them to my hometown and only had to drive 15 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I built community.
Yeah. You build community. It
Yeah,
would be like you were like paying for tickets for, shows or yeah, like a season
exactly. This
of
is
the opera or something. Yeah.
exactly. It's just a matter of perspective of how you look at things.
Yeah.
All right. So rough trade. Can you
You're
explain
a
that for anyone that,
philanthropist.
what's that?
I said you are a philanthropist.
I'm a philanthropist. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a new way I'm
Yeah.
going to like describe myself. Philanthropist. I am funding art and music.
Rockefeller over there.
I'm a Rockefeller. I mean, I'm in New York, so I guess I am a
Yeah.
Rockefeller. Can you explain the rough trade in a little bit more detail? Like, explain what rough trade is for those people that maybe don't know what rough trade is.
Rough Trade is a record store and record label, and they have a record store in 30 Rock, where Saturday Night Live and all that is
Mhm.
filmed, and they host events in the basement of the record store. And I haven't been there yet because I haven't been to the East Coast yet. Well, I'm from there, but I haven't been
Yeah,
there in a long time. Since we started doing it. And so they host events and started working with us. So they carry the magazine in the store, and then we, with the cover artists that are able to do it, we'll set up a date and event, and with like purchasing the magazine and the ticket. And sometimes there's bundles and the new record that they have
yes,
is like the magazine and the record that they're selling is your ticket to the event. You
yes.
buy it through Rough Trade. And then we have usually a live performance, Q&A, and like signing.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
who have you done so far for that? Like, because that's something pretty new you've done, right?
Yeah. Dead Guy. We have
Yes.
Biohazard coming up. We have Thrice coming up.
Ah,
Um, those are the three
Biohazard.
so
One of the
far.
very first shows I ever went to. I was like 10th grade, and they had just come out with Punishment on the MTV, and they were playing The Rage in Baltimore, and I was working at Roy Rogers. So I know I was like just
Roy
turned
Rogers.
16, right?
That's
And I convinced a girlfriend at the time, Michelle Wolfsey, hey Michelle, if you're listening, that we were going to drive up to this show. And we drove up there, and it's the first time I saw Chelsea Cuts. And there was a local Baltimore band called Next Step Up, and Sheer Terror played.
wow.
And like my girlfriend got banged up in the pit, and they pulled her up on stage, and they took us in the green room, which was like the basement of the dive bar in Baltimore. And God, it was such a
Damn.
great experience. Like I have like I still have that t-shirt. I bought a size big enough to allow me to grow into it for my
Yeah.
16-year-old
Smart.
self. Because I'm like almost 100 pounds heavier than I was.
Yeah. Yeah, like
And
all the t-shirts I have, like my
yeah,
oldest ones or whenever you
yeah.
bought like the real tiny ones, and I'm like, fuck, I really
I mean,
didn't think it through.
I literally think I would have probably been wearing a medium or large. I'm like, oh, all we have is a
Yes.
double X. I'm like, fine, I'll buy it. And
Oh,
I just wore it, and I have that shirt still, and I wear it all the time. So like Biohazard has always had this soft spot in my heart because it's my first hardcore show. Like prior to that, I'd been a metal kid, and I guess you could say Biohazard is more metal, but Sheer Terror played, Next Step Up, like it
yeah.
was Chelsea Cuts. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. I'd gone to stadiums and seen Metallica and Iron Maiden and Slayer, but I had not been to
And you said
that.
that's
And I was like,
your first show?
yeah, it was my first show.
Wow.
That was my first show. And then like my first punk show was to see the Meatmen in DC. And then there were two
Oh,
bands I
wow.
never heard of. So I sat outside and didn't
Mhm.
see the two opening bands. This would have been 93. Some bands called Pennywise and Offspring that I never heard of.
Yeah.
It was at the old 930 Club, and I didn't go inside. And I'm like, what an asshole I am. What an asshole I am. I need to, it's like, I always see opening bands now. I was like, God damn it. So
one of my first shows that I got to see, I would say it would be, was it 91 or 93? Was Fugazi when they were, and they played it in State College, 'cause I'm from
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, and I lived in a very, very
Yeah,
small
near
town.
Penn State. Yeah.
Yeah, so but they were putting on shows, and so I went to uh, see Fugazi, and, they have the Fugazi archives on Discord,
Yes.
on the Discord website,
Yes. Yes,
and
they
they're
do.
digitizing all of them, and that show date, it was 93. Um, they have, like, the college newspaper. I was right up front, pressed up front, and they have a picture from the newspaper. You could see me, like, pressed up right under Ian, and they interviewed me in the newspaper, so there's, like, the little article, but it's the one of them that they haven't digitized yet, so I just keep going back, to the site, like, "Come on,
Come on. Come
come
on.
on." I can understand,
That's
like, I'm
amazing.
sure there are, like, bigger ones and everything like that, but this has been, like, 6 years now, where I'm like,
They
"Come
they
on."
they are such archivists. It's
Yeah, and
and
that
I
was just like,
oh yeah, it's right here. Like the
yeah.
DC hardcore, DC post hardcore, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
the way they treated each other, the ideas, the the
The
ethical
idea.
qualities of hardcore, like
Mhm.
those are the things that like I carry inside of me. I just did a show at the Black Cat in DC for this band called 504 Plan. They just graduated high school and they all had learning divergences, so they're called 504 Plan.
True.
Love the live. They did a live and dead live outside his studio side B, but they had this one song where they like introduce themselves by their neurodivergences. It's like, hi, my name is
I love
DeClan. I
you.
have dyslexia and executive functioning disorder, but watch this. And like, it's just so great.
I
And,
love
and
this.
Ian bought their record at the show. And I tried to reintroduce myself going, hey, I interviewed you when I was like a junior in high school for my school paper in Fairfax, Virginia about, and he's like, I don't remember. I was like, I'm sure you don't, but like, I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
it mattered to me a lot back then.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that he, like, lets people come into his home all the
Yes,
time is just, like,
he's
I'm glad he got
just,
that.
yes. Yeah. It's, it's everything that I'm not able to do all the things that he did. But like the ideas that I have behind my record label, documenting the history, treating artists fairly, making it about the music, like that is my goal. Like you said, you'd rather not do the digital stuff, right? I don't handle the digital stuff. I tell bands like, I don't want to deal with your streaming services.
Yeah.
I'll help you put the record on Bandcamp if you want, but like, I don't want to deal, and I don't care if you don't want to put it out digitally. I don't care. I'm putting out physical things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I f yeah, I feel like that we came from a generation, and that kind of ethos that w is still in us, and you just can't, you'll never beat it out of us,
Yeah,
you know?
it's hard to get rid of that. Like I want to hold it in my hand. You
Yes.
know, like the idea of I was listening to a podcast today. I was like, go to Bandcamp, buy those digital albums. I was like, why would I buy a digital album? I
Yeah.
mean, I love to give money to a band, right? I love to help, but like, I mean, that same digital album is available for streaming, and if it's digital, how many computers have I gone through? My first iPod I had when I was 30 is gone. Like, I don't
No.
want to own digital files.
No.
I don't
I
trust that
can't,
they're going to
I'm
like
not organized.
survive whatever not new
Yeah.
virus or computer failure I have. I don't want them.
Yeah. I don't know where, like, I can't, I don't file things well.
Yeah.
Um, personally, I should be better at it and everything, but it's what
Yeah.
I do what I can, and yeah,
This is, so when did you start New Noise? What year was it? 2000.
2013.
That's a long time. It's 12
Darn
years.
it. It is. Yeah, I mean, I think I started, like, I think whenever I, like, put out the first issue of the magazine I ever, like, was 25.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. How much has it changed over the course of those years? What would you say?
It's night and day. But I
Night
mean,
and day.
in a lot of ways, there is a lot of things that's similar. Um, and there are like, there's labels like Epitaph and stuff
Yeah.
that I worked with on that first issue that I'm still working with now. Um, and there's lifers, there's people that are in it for the right reasons.
Yep.
And you always stick with them, like there there's it's like and I maybe I'm biased about California and stuff, but a lot of the labels out here in Northern California have always been really supportive of the magazine. I think it's also has a little bit to do they've met me in person and know like like, oh yeah, she's real deal, like I'm
Well,
not.
your magazine is inexpensive. It's only like what, $4.99?
Well, the flexi issue is $9 now
Okay.
and non is 8.
That's still
I
really
had
cheap.
rate. Yeah, like my flexi cost January of last year went up 30%. Um, and print and paper, especially like it never went back down. It got hyped up when there during pandemic when there was all
Yeah.
like there was like paper shortages, there was like a some kind of strike in wherever like there was like
Yeah.
yeah, there was like a big paper shortage thing I wouldn't have known about if it weren't for that. Then there was sh shipping problems, supply chain, and
Yeah.
all of those costs went up and they never went back down.
They
Um,
rarely do. Like,
no, they
you
were
know, it's
everly yeah, we're still like, "Yeah, people are paying it."
it, it-
So,
it's one of the things I had to explain to my daughter. She's like, I keep telling people that inflation's gotten better. They say it sounds like, well, inflation getting better doesn't mean that prices go down. It means that you stop going up less.
yeah.
Like prices rarely go down. Once they spike, and if the company thinks they can still make consumers pay it, they rarely go back down.
Yeah, and I really don't feel like big industry is being told right now that they need to, like, serve the people by the
No,
powers that be in this world. I don't
no,
know.
no,
I'm, like, not an
no.
expert on economics, but, I feel like this is like a free for all of deregulation and guardrails being taken off of
Oh yeah,
every industry
it's
possible.
it's
So,
like on one level I'd say it's a libertarian's dream, but at the same time I would say even a libertarian be like, whoa, this is a little bit
yeah, I think
much.
it's
Like
all
this
more
is more like
nightmares.
crony capitalism.
Yes.
This is beyond the idea of free markets. It's more of a it's not even free. It's yeah, play the game, mob rule sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. But I love that you put the flexes in because that reminds me of like Amp Records and Faster Louder used to put the CDs in there.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
love those CDs because
me
like
too. They
those
were so fun to
bands
put together.
I wouldn't have heard of half the time. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And I
Yeah,
might
and
not have
people
given
were
them a
really into
chance.
that.
Yeah.
I
I was
I
like,
feel like people would still be into it too.
yeah.
I don't know how many people are playing CDs or anything, but yeah, I've thought about it now and again, like, maybe we should switch to that, but, like, I love doing the flexies. It's really cool to be like, I
The
put out a record
Flexies are great. I
with an
love the
artist I love.
Flexies.
Yeah.
And CDs are such a crapshoot because I have bands ask me about it all the time. I'm like, I mean, if I still had an older car, I would still have CDs.
Yeah.
But as soon as I bought a new car that didn't have a CD player, that was pretty much it. My
My
computer
car
doesn't
still has
have a
a CD
thing. I
player,
don't
and
have
I
a
never
DVD
use
player
it.
anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like, I've always had vinyl. Well, vinyl just kind of like continued to be the constant. I had CDs because I could play them in my car. Like
Yeah.
an 8-hour ride trip, like put it in the car. I have a big booklet of CDs, and I'll just put them in. It's great. Same thing
Yeah.
when I had tapes. I used to carry a tape case of like 24 tapes in the front seat of my car, and I putting tapes in. I was like,
Yeah, I
even
still
though
have my last tape case, that has, like, a nice little selection of tapes, but I, like, somewhere along the line,
yeah,
lost most of those too. I think I still have the booklet with a whole bunch of CDs somewhere, though. I've just had to downsize so much, as it got more expensive to live in the Bay Area, so I went from, like, being able to rent a house to now being, like, a little apartment, so
I can only imagine. So like I'm a full-time doctoral student, so I'm on a full stipend and a scholarship, and I'm not allowed to work. So like
wow!
I have to only take the money they give me. I can work during the summer, and technically doing the label is not work. So
That that's exciting. What are you doing your doctoral in?
so the technical title is curriculum and instruction. The subcategory is society, equity, and justice. And you had mentioned reading earlier, and I just finished my pilot study where I had students create their own graphic novels prior to writing an essay as a preparation for the Regents exam. So they use the same primary sources they would use for the essay, but they did it in a graphic novel format. And some of the things I'm claiming I noticed, I'm waiting for a review of my pilot study. So if anyone out there in my world is listening, uh,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be that they demonstrated ethical representation and empathy. So, like for instance,
Oh no.
it's one thing to write genocide in a paper, but when you
Yeah.
illustrate it, how do you illustrate it in a way that doesn't sensationalize trauma?
Yeah.
It's one thing to name an indigenous tribe, but if you have to illustrate it, how do you illustrate it in a way that is not a stereotype? Additionally, I noticed that students, when they just wrote each paragraph, and like primary source 1 says this, primary source 2 says this, primary source 3 says this, with maybe a transitional sentence connecting them. But when they did it in graphic format, it was more narrative. There was metaphor. There was symbolism. There was sarcasm. There was contextualization. That was all
Yeah.
in there. So that was my pilot study. And then once that's done, I'm allowed to move on to my dissertation proposal. And I don't have a question yet, but the broad topic is how to use nonfiction graphic novels to engage in historical empathy for marginalized histories.
Wow, that is
So
fascinating.
so that's where I'm at right now. So that's what I'm working on during the days I'm not doing this.
Yeah. I like we had said before the podcast, I'm just really fascinated and such a supporter of the kids that have grown up in an online world that got
Yes.
shut down by a pandemic because they are a generation that deserves um
Grace.
grace. Yeah, grace,
Grace.
understanding, and yeah, and the empathy exercises and things like that.
Yep.
I think are fantastic because I my experience being in college right now with them is they're really wonderful human beings
Yes.
that I think get maligned by all these other generations that are just fighting with each other over stuff, and these kids haven't known anything but that and are just incredibly brilliant,
Yep.
funny,
And
unique
tired of
individuals. Yeah.
being told that everything they do has no value and that the ways they behave has no value. And I'm like, gosh, it's my and sorry, mom, if you're listening, but my mom will go on and on about kids today. And I'm like, I sat in front of the TV for 6 hours every Saturday,
Yeah.
shoving chocolate covered sugar bombs into my mouth while watching cartoons. And then when that was over, I went to my room and I would play Excite Bike on my Nintendo for another
Yeah.
4 hours. And
Yeah.
then when that was over, I'd say, Mom, can we go to Blockbuster and rent a movie? So
Yeah.
it wasn't like, yes, and I was a reader. I was a pretty voracious reader,
Yeah.
but like, I was also
Yeah.
kind of quiet kid. I didn't go
Yeah.
outside a lot. I wasn't good at sports, and I just like to engage in things I enjoyed. And I try not to like malign kids for what they like
Yeah. For what they
and
enjoy, and if it's
what they
not,
enjoy. And like we have to assume that's like it's bad because that's not what we did. And I'm
yeah.
like, no. And I try very hard. I think the most difficult part, because being a civics teacher, history teacher, is that my oldest kid will be like, Dad, everyone's saying this. I'm like, well, what's everyone? Like those are the sort of things. And like, how do you look at social media and diagnose it? And I've taught her to be a vertical reader, which means that like you look at it and then you click on different things and you try and diagnose, who, what, where, why, and stuff like that. So you like an article, you investigate deeply into who wrote it and why they wrote it and the perspective before you value it. So, but she'll send me, it's like, Dad, there's this thing and you have to do X, Y, and Z now. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, that wall's actually been around for 15 years. So the people posting it, trying to make it like a big to do, I don't like it, but it's not new. But the way the TikTok you sent me presented it made it sound like it was just done.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of stuff that I struggle with.
Yeah. And I mean, complaining about the next generation goes back to like Plato,
It's what
as
we do.
long yeah, it's what we do. So yeah, so that's why I think I'm like even more defensive. Like, it's been a very strange time to be in college and
Yeah.
see it, especially being in a university that is under threat of
Yep.
attack, by our own fucking government, and seeing these kids working through that with this
Yeah.
grace and everything, it's just made me like, they are who I wanna champion,
Yep.
'cause I am everything I see in the world that is so, like, hideous, weird, ugly, ignorant, disrespectful and just mean and everything. I see the opposite every time I walk onto that
Yep.
campus and I'm walking around with these kids. And, sometimes if I'm walking through, I just kind of eavesdrop on their conversations and I'm like, God, these kids are so fucking cool.
And they're
And
so positive.
yeah, yeah, they're
So
happy and
positive.
yeah, and they're n- they're not unable to read. Like they're reading
Oh,
it, and like I'm reading very difficult text for me who has lived a life and
yeah.
has a lot of like things that I can recall and associate, and they don't have that, and they are like the takes that they have on this like philosophers and critics and theorists where I'm like, "Holy shit, you kids are so smart." So that yeah,
I'm not worried. They're
I'm
fine.
not worried either. I'm actually
Yep.
quite positive that
Yep.
they'll make a difference and,
I mean, my
at least
daughter
here in
turned
Berkeley,
17 and
maybe
started college on the
I'm in
same day.
Berkeley too.
Like,
What?
they're on their ball.
Yeah.
And but like the work they do now is harder than anything you and I did in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, the stuff I was teaching my middle school kids was stuff I never would have done even when I was in high school. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, they don't do this. I'm like, I didn't do anything. I don't remember ever doing homework. And I grew up in Fairfax County, one of the best school districts in the county, like right outside of DC and best school districts in the country. And like, I'm sure I learned well, but like, I don't remember like stressing.
No.
And these kids stress. They try, like the ones that try so hard. It's freaking ridiculous. So
And well, I mean, we were limited in the resources that we had. Like, I think
yes,
now with the internet, with your phone, like, you're just no matter if you're working or not, you're supposed to be on the clock in whatever it is you're doing and
yeah.
available all the time, and it's, that demarcation of, like, even 9 to 5 is gone.
Well, and that's why it's so fast. Like having been a teacher, right? Is like when I was on the clock, I was on the clock. I mean, I worked from the moment the school day started to the end. Now I spend 10 hours a week in the admissions office of my school, and there's like downtime to talk to my coworkers. There's downtime to run and grab a coffee if I want to real quick. I had to bring a thermos in my classroom because I never had downtime. And,
Well,
prior to that, I, managed coffee shops and I was a server and I had a lot of jobs in high paced environments where you didn't get breaks. Like you went to work and you worked every second of the day. And I'm like, ah, does it have to be that way?
no.
Can you enjoy? I don't know. Does it?
I don't know. I wish I knew, because I feel like I am constantly working. Everyone's like, yeah. I feel really bad because I haven't been going to shows and being out at all like since like school started and stuff, and and I feel bad because I just really can't now, because I have another
Well,
side job too, the magazine,
you're a
and then
full time student. You have the magazine, right? That's a lot of work.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then I pet sit on the side, which kind of like
What's
I
on the
make
side?
pet sit. I watch people's animals. Today I
Okay.
don't have any, but yeah,
Okay.
like Berkeley's Berkeley's very wealthy and people love their animals, so I have like a little crew of dogs that will like stay with me and then every day at noon I walk between like 1 and 4 of
Yep.
them. I take them to the park
I
and
was a dog
it's
walker in
fun.
Annapolis when I went to college in my 30s, and I made more money than I did waiting
Yeah,
tables. So
I know.
Annapolis is a very wealthy city, and they pay
Yeah.
you lots of money to walk their dog at noon for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it was a good way to stay in shape. And I would have my flashcards and study for classes. And like,
Yeah.
this is phenomenal.
It gets me off the computer, it gets me,
Yeah.
allows me to adjust my eyes to outdoors
Yeah.
and it's just and I enjoy giving people like the peace of mind to know that when they're like working or away on work trips or on vacation that their animals are just getting getting spoiled and revered because I'm just an animal lover. And so it was something I kind of fell into accidentally, and that's been what has allowed me to, you know, keep pay my rent, save. I have savings from it. I take my
Yeah.
mom on vacation every year, and things like that. So, but it's also like, oh, I can't go out because I got like 3 dogs at my house right now. Like I can't go
Sure.
anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
So
can't leave 3 dogs. No, absolutely
yeah.
understand. Absolutely
So
understand.
if I have
So,
one of the 3 things that like once I graduate, I'm going to like dive back into being a social butterfly again fully. I'm going to like take vacations and do all those things, but until spring, until I like write my gigantic thesis and graduate hopefully with honors.
woo,
Um
woo.
woot, yeah, I'm just a little
Oh, yeah,
slug.
I
I'm not
get
a
it.
bookworm, I'm a book slug.
It can get tiring. I overwhelmed myself this month in October. I had 5 shows I booked, and then I agreed to be the stage manager of a festival for 2 nights, and then I'm also flying down to the fest in Florida, and I'll be gone for four
Oh,
days. So I'm trying to manage all of that in 1 month
I wish I
while
were
working.
going. I canceled going.
Oh
I had my
no,
hotel booked for Fest, but then with the FAA, I'm like, I'm really nervous about flying across the country and getting stuck because I have to be back for classes.
sure.
Um, and also it's like kind of like the where all my biggest like big papers and stuff are due for this semester.
Oh, I get it.
So yeah,
And
so
and
I'm like,
it's
I've gotta skip this year, and I'm really
and we
bummed
have
about.
like the government shutdown right now too. So all the
Yeah.
so like I'm supposed to fly out next Thursday. We'll see what happens. I'm taking my youngest daughter with me because her best friend's in Florida. So I was going to drop her off to be
Oh,
with her
that's
best friend
fun.
as a surprise. So,
She'll like
and
that
I'm like,
more
I'm
than
hoping
Paul.
it all works out. Um, but yeah, I get it. I get it. Was it Camp Pennsylvania? I've been going there now for the last 4 years or so. And the
Oh,
first
that's
year I went
cool.
there, I had to leave early because I had a final paper due on Monday.
Yeah.
And I tried to get it done before I went to but I couldn't. And so like, you know, I think I stayed out for like 1 or 2 bands on Sunday, and I was like, I gotta go. I gotta drive home. I got a paper due. I, I tried to get it done, but I haven't had a chance to, and I just gotta go. Something's got
Yeah.
to give somewhere.
Yeah. I gotta do like 2
Yeah.
group projects. I got like, yeah, papers and
Yep.
tests, and I can't keep up as is. I'm doing my best. I'm keeping up. I'm doing it, but
Yep.
it's hard. It takes
I
every bit.
remember my buddy Andrew runs Swamp Cabbage Records, plays in Vicious Dreams. He told me once when he was like going to law school that they played fest, and he's like, "Yeah, we had to play fest, but the entire day that everyone's outside enjoying fest, I'm in the hotel working on some sort of law thing I have to do, and then I stop, go play." And then I go back to the hotel and I like work again. And he's like, it
Yeah.
was the saddest fest I've ever done. I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's
Yeah,
okay.
my friend and I were talking about it, and she, like, has to, like, used up all of her time off, so she's like, "I'm gonna have to just be on work meetings," and we were talking about we're like, "Let's skip this year and then next
Okay.
year for sure go," but
Go
you have
back
double
next year so we can
punishment.
hang out next year.
Yeah, I love Fest,
Surprise.
though.
I'm surprised we haven't run into each other sooner, actually. So
Yeah, I've gone to most of them.
I've gone for the last probably 8 years, I would say. So
I've
it
gone for
was,
about 20.
yeah, I, it it was always a balance of time and money,
Yeah.
time and money. Once my kids were
And for us,
older and it was,
yeah, it's expensive to fly across the country. I used to
yep,
love going when we did the pre-fest. I loved
yep,
pre-fest. It was in Ybor City. That was just so much fun. I really loved Ybor City. It was such a neat, I think they did that 2 or 3 years.
yep,
And so
yep.
it would be like a whole week.
Yep.
And it's hard to, it's hard to do a whole week like in
It's hard to do
Hawaii.
all that. But
Yeah.
before I go to fest, I would go like my buddy Craig did Foreign Descent. So it's like the Monday before fest. He takes 4 or 5 bands that are all, international bands, and he does a show in Orlando at Will's Pub. And it's no local bands, it's all international. I was like, okay, you know what? I don't get to go to fest, but I'm going to go see Foreign Descent, and I'm going to see like 5 kick-ass bands that are playing fest. And yeah, I got to go pick it up and teach tomorrow, but it's fine.
Yeah.
That's also the hard part. Being a teacher, man, it's not easy to get off of work sometimes. I worked in a small private school, which made it harder because we didn't have like regular substitutes. So just taking a day off was a pain in the, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wanting to get into teaching. That's like what I want to do whenever I'm supposed to be retired. But because I
Sorry,
won't have
sorry,
time to
sorry.
retire.
When you're retired, I was like, I worked so hard when I was a teacher.
Yeah.
Probably like you being an editor. So do you write it all or do you focus on doing the editing and the organization? Or are you still actively engaged in writing stuff?
I occasionally will write something, but I don't get an opportunity to do it nearly enough. And like every once in a while, I'll tackle like a cover story if I can. But right now, I'm reading and writing so much for school, and um, just.
Oh yeah.
But I really do like working with all of our writers, especially because one of the things that I always wanted to do is have a place where new writers could get their foot in the door. So I
Yeah.
really like working with writers at all levels and helping develop their voice and confidence in what they're doing and give suggestions. Like I'm really good at revising things and editing. And being like, this paragraph would work better up here and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
here's how you do this kind of thing. And really like supporting
That's
our
awesome.
writers. Yeah. So I like doing that. But yeah, between all the editing of, over 60 bands,
Yes.
every other issue or every issue. And then, um, you know, I'm starting to tackle a 60-page thesis. So,
Yeah.
um, I just
I,
know our writers will do a better job than I will at this point.
sure. I get it.
Yeah.
So have have you covered it? What's the band that you covered? Like, oh my God, I'm fucking covering this band. I am so stoked. Like, what's that band that you covered that you're like, fuck yeah, I'm like so
Oh, I mean, there's been so many of them. I can't really name one because it's like a constant
sure.
thing every issue.
I get it. I get it.
You
Yeah, I
know?
feel that.
Yeah, I mean, when we got to do an Avail cover with the Flexi, that was like a personal that was like teen me going, "Ee!"
M- My pop favorite band of all time. Like, so I'm from Northern Virginia, DC area,
Okay,
right? And
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so when they did the reunion show in Richmond, right? The tickets were going on sale.
I was
Tickets went on
there.
sale at like 10. I was there too. Tickets went on sale at 10 o'clock. My third period class started at 9:50. I wrote my credit card number on the board. I had all the kids create logins to on their phones to
I love
buy me
it.
tickets. And I was like, I will cancel this credit card in 24 hours after the tickets have gone through. So I don't
Yeah,
care if any of
like
you think you're going to steal
Twitter.
my credit card information, but every one of you is going to try and buy Mr. P Avail tickets because that's how important this is to Mr. P. Mr. P
I
needs this.
love it.
And
I
we didn't get any. And my wife was on like 3 computers. My buddy Jason was on 3. And then my buddy Jay on his shit phone managed to get 4. And I ran out the hall, up and down the hall of the school, opening every room of every classroom, screaming Avail, and went back and taught my class. So,
I love it. I love it.
so yes, yes, yes.
And that like whenever when I was on said payphone in the 90s trying to find a job and a place to live because I couldn't get into my dorm, the reason that I met my friend that I started the magazine with was I had an Avail sticker on my car and it started a conversation.
The bass player of my band in DC, I met him because I was managing a Caribou Coffee and I was taking garbage out and I had a Vail patch on my hoodie and he had just moved here from Missoula, Montana. And he saw the Avail patch. He's like, huh, this guy must be cool. And he
Yeah.
literally followed me into the coffee shop and got a coffee and then just started talking to me. And then I offered him a job and then became the bass player of my punk band. And it's all because I had the Avail patch on the back of my
Yeah.
hoodie.
Oh, love
So
it. Yeah, so
yes,
that was yeah. And it was the flexi track that we got was a live recording from the show, but they're all such old grumps. And none of them was happy with any of the songs, and they
Of
like tried
course
to like
not.
bail, and I was like, "You're not allowed."
Of course not. Come on now, stop
I
it.
got so salty at the manager. I was like, "You can't
Live
do
at the
that."
Bottom of the Hill is like my favorite album. It's like my favorite live album. Like, it's so good.
Mhm.
So, ah,
Yeah,
um,
Dixie was the one that like I was listening to constantly right
yes,
before I
yeah,
moved west
yeah.
and
You see
started my
Dixie
life.
tattoos on people everywhere. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, yeah, so
So was
but
it,
all of everything that I yeah, I am Avail to the end. So I think that was like one of the flexies I was really excited about. I was really excited that we got to do a Lemonheads flexi. It's a
oh,
very
that's so
weird
good too.
one because I'm like I I love the
Yeah.
Lemonhead. Evan's weird, but I love beautiful, wonderful musician. Um, yeah, I mean, we've gotten to do quite a few that I've just been really stunned and excited about doing. But yeah.
Cool. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Is there any other cool, rad things you want to share about what's coming forward, or anything you want to share about like dopeness that I didn't ask about? Because it's hard to do research on DIY, stuff. Because even though you said everyone thinks you're big, you're actually relatively small in comparison to, say, the major capitalistic world we live in, but very important. It's hard to get a full
We're
grasp
small
of everything that you've
staff,
done.
but I think we do a lot. That's what I mean. We're
Yes,
just a
yeah, no,
real
yeah,
small little staff of people that just kick ass.
no, no,
Uh,
and I was trying to say
yeah,
that without being disparaging. Like, you are small but
yeah,
amazing. Like, you're
yeah,
you're a mastodon of awasomeness.
yeah.
You're just not
Like
so
we're
small
selling,
crew.
like I think we're printing and selling more copies than you know, majorly funded ones. So
That's
yeah,
awesome, and I
yeah.
apologize for not recognizing that. So that's not what I
No,
meant to do.
no
Yeah.
apologies here. No apologies here. I think we got some really cool shit coming up. We're going to be announcing our new cover and flexi tomorrow. I think people are going to be really excited about. I'm looking at it on my desktop right now, the mock-up of the cover, and I'm really excited. And we one of our sponsors of our podcast is Earpiece that makes
Yeah.
earplugs, really cool ones, and they sent me a nice big box of them. So anyone that subscribes starting tomorrow with this will get a free pair of earplugs, and they're not cheap ones either. I got to look up the MSRP on these, but they're like really good ones. I
I used
have
to buy eargasms and I kept losing them all the time, and I was like, screw it, I can't keep spending money on this.
yeah, I have mine on my phone. They sent me before,
Oh,
and
okay.
we'll have these. And it's funny because whenever I'm like talking to people and I'm like at a show and I'm going like this, I think people think I'm like pulling out drugs, and I'm like, it's earplugs. I'm not doing nose candy, I promise. But
That's exactly what it looks like. So
it does. I was,
eargasms comes in a very similar, but it's more stout. The problem is that the thing gets
yeah.
stripped, and so I'll put them in there, and then like I'll go to a show and I'm dancing around, and then it falls off, and I have just the lid hanging on my keys. And I'm
These
like, well,
ones
that's
have
not
like that,
helpful.
and yeah, and I take them out and put them in like in between
Yeah.
because you know, but yeah, I get the weird looks. I'm like, it's not Coke, sorry, but yeah, so we're gonna be offering those with subscriptions till we run out, and then yeah, we have some cool covers coming up that I'm really excited about, and then we're just getting ready for 2026.
All right. I am super stoked. I mean, I could probably talk to you for hours, let's be honest, but like,
Yeah,
I try to keep these podcasts about an hour long. Um, you've been so gracious. I know
thank
your
you.
schedule is incredibly busy. Your time is incredibly valuable. So I
God
can't
damn
thank you
right.
enough.
My
I can't
gingerbread
thank you enough for
fan.
being a fellow Avail fan, for
Super
being here.
fan.
Super
Love
fan.
Tim Bar.
I think that's how I pick people on the podcast. Tim from Famous Records was on here, and we both also bonded on Avail. And the last time I saw him, I gave him my Avail 7-inch, where Tim was actually the drummer, and Brian Johnson was still singing. And he's like, "You're giving this to me?" I was like, "I've had it for a decade. It's time for someone else to love it."
Aw,
I was
you
like,
have a
"It's
good
hard to
heart.
find. So I love you. You've always been so kind to me. So it's time for you to take your time with it."
Oh, that's so nice.
We got to take care of each other, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you, everyone. Thank you for everyone listening or watching it out there. Please Check out New Noise Magazine if you don't know it. Subscribe to the print edition. It's not overly expensive. It is packed with so much amazing stuff. You're going to love it. And if you're in a band or you're on a record label, reach out. Throw them some advertising. It's a great way to get your name out there. Trust me, I know. And thank you, Lisa, for all that you do to help build community within our music scene.
Thank you. You too.